What's up, everybody? My name is Del. This is Del on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. And today we have a video that is weeks in the making. We are going to finally complete martial arts and madness, where I watch as many martial arts as I can during the month of March. And I did a video showing the first half of the month, and this is going to finish out the month. So let's just go ahead and get to it. The first movie of the second half of the month is Power Kids, and Power Kids is, I guess I want to say, like a Three Ninjas kind of movie, maybe a little bit better. You know what? I have never seen Three Ninjas, so I can't even say that. So Power Kids is a 2009 movie. We got these kids who've trained themselves in how to fight, and we see them early on. We're doing some cool stuff, and then one of their friends winds up in hospital. The hospital gets taken over by some bad guys, and they gotta save their friend and stop the bad guys. It's cute, but the tone is kind of all over the place. It's kind of goofy, but it's not really funny. The fighting is kind of inconsistent. The kids are actually seem to be pretty good fighters, but they do have some good scenes early on, where they kind of give a good reason for why some kids are able to beat grown men, and it works out great. But they kind of go away from those kinds of things. So overall, 2.5 stars for Power Kids. Not a great movie, but I had a decent time watching it. Next movie is Lady Dragon 2. If you saw my video for the first half of the month, I ended on Lady Dragon, and that is a Cynthia Rothrock movie. And I actually had a fun time with that one. It was pretty good. This sequel is not anywhere near as good. I'm not sure what they were trying to do with this movie, and I don't think they knew what they were trying to do. Here it says a woman seeks revenge on the men who raped her and murdered her husband, and that's true, but the way they carry it out is so much different from the first Lady Dragon, because it's a similar storyline to the first one, but the way it's carried out here, it's like part horror movie, part Skinamax thriller, but without the skin, and then some martial arts is in there, kind of, sorta, and it's a different director, so it's not shot as well. You don't get to see what Cynthia Rothrock is really capable of, and I know she's a capable fighter, so it was just a misfire. So just 1.5 stars for Lady Dragon 2. The next movie is The Boxer from Shantung, and this one was interesting. The fighting was really good, actually. It was good martial arts fighting throughout. I didn't really have any problems with that, and you can tell by this name right here, directed by Chang Che, who really does excellent work almost all the time. What's interesting about this one is that it plays more like a gangster movie than a martial arts movie. It's more like it has more in common with Scarface than it does Enter the Dragon, for instance, or 36 Chamber of Shaolin. This guy, he leaves his hometown, and he winds up, goes to the big city, and basically falls in with a bunch of gangsters, and we watch his rise to power through the ranks. And since it's a gangster movie, a kind of a rise and fall kind of deal. So I had fun with that. So I really enjoyed that. 3.5 stars for The Boxer from Shantung. Next up was a movie called The Black Dragon. And if you're familiar with this movie, kudos to you. If you're not, I don't blame you. But this movie stars Ron Van Cleef, who was a real martial arts champion back in the 70s. Think Chuck Norris, basically, won the same kind of tournaments. And he parlayed that into being a movie star in China. He really went to China and made martial arts movies over there, which for a black man in 1970s is crazy to think of, to be honest with you. In this case, he's there, and he's barely in this movie. He's in it, but he's not. It doesn't seem like he's really the star. So I don't know if they didn't trust his acting or anything like that. We get the other characters. They're having this whole story, where we find out that our main character finds out that their boss is a bad guy, basically, and gotta go stop that. Um, Ron Van Cleef, he pops up here and there in the movie and does his thing, has some fights and moves on. Overall enjoyable movie, not great, 3 stars though, so it was a decent time watching it. My first time seeing it, and I'm really glad that I finally got a chance to. Of course, I followed up Black Dragon with the sequel, Black Dragon's Revenge. And this movie is also a Bruce exploitation movie. If you're not familiar with the term, Bruce exploitation movies are movies that came out after Bruce Lee died, but were trying to capitalize on his name and image. So they would have often a character who is supposed to be Bruce Lee, or they had an actor who was supposed to be the next Bruce Lee, and they were often named like Bruce Lie. There was a Bruce. Not a joke. That's a real thing. It was a Bruce Lie or Bruce Lay. There was a Bruce Lee, Lea. There were some other variations on that, and or they had plots that had something to do with Bruce Lee's death. This is no different, and I didn't know that going in though. In this case, Ron Van Cleef again stars, and he is the star this time of the movie. He really is much more of the film. He's the main guy, and he's basically been hired to find out if Bruce Lee is really dead. That there's people who think that Bruce Lee is still alive, and or I take that back. That not that he's alive. They're trying to find out. I misremembered. Sorry, guys. He's trying to find out if Bruce Lee was really murdered, or did his death happen as we all know it happened currently. So there's like, yeah, that's the story, but we think somebody actually killed him. So he's trying to find that out. And just like a number of these movies, they do the poor taste thing, and they show actual footage from Bruce Lee's real funeral, including him in the casket. And I don't really like that, but that's a small portion of the movie. The rest of the movie is actually pretty good, pretty fun. 3.5 stars for Black Dragon's Revenge. The next movie is one I've been waiting to see for a really long time. I went and bought the Arrow video release of it, and actually, you know what? Let me back up on that a little bit. I heard about this movie years ago, and then hadn't seen it. A few years ago, my mother's husband passed away, unfortunately, but he so happened to be a martial arts movie fan also, and he had a bunch of DVDs, and in that pile was Come Drink With Me. I had it. I got it from that pile, and still didn't watch it. And then the Arrow release came out, and I turned it, and I went and bought that. So I did finally watch it, and this is one of the first martial arts movies to have a female lead in the film. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to watch it. And her character's name is Golden Swallow, and she shows up in town and basically just beating everybody down. And what she's trying to do is she is trying to uh, she's trying to get the governor's son back. The governor his son has been kidnapped, and he's hired Golden Swallow to come to get him back. Of course, at the beginning of the movie, everybody thinks Golden Swallow's a man, so they don't see her coming. But once they figure that out, then there's more fights, and there's lots of fights in this movie. And then she meet somebody else because, well, you know what? I'm not going to go through the whole roller coaster of the movie, but suffice it to say that it is a really well done film. 1966, one of the oldest martial arts movies that I've seen. And the fight choreography is a little primitive, so I will say that, but it is effective, and it is a gorier movie than I thought it would be. So we do get some blood splatter on. Think Lady Snowblood. Think about along those lines. But Come Drink With Me, 4 stars, really good film. Next movie is my favorite, probably my favorite of the entire month of Martial Arts Madness that I went through. This is The Deadly Duo. This is one I found on Hamilton Book like 2-3 years ago and put it on a shelf and never watched it. And there's that name again, Chang Che. And in this movie, you can see we got they call them patriots. These are two guys who they're definitely patriots. They're loyal to the country, and there's an army that's invaded part of China, and in doing so, they have also they kidnapped the prince. All right, and these two guys have decided, hey, you know what? It is time to go rescue the prince. And we get that this is based on a true story. We get that right at the beginning of the movie. Is told that, but of course, it's not 100% sure. At least I don't think it is. But in any event, it is a fantastic martial arts movie. And we talked about the primitive choreography in Come Drink With Me. Just 5 years later, 1971, it is a lot better in this movie, and the story is also really fantastic. So 4.5 stars for the Deadly Duo. I might even take it to 5 at some point because I'm sure I'm going to watch this again, and I might just bump it up some more. But I really had a fantastic time with this one. So definitely, if there's no other movie that I recommend for you for this month, I would recommend this one, The Deadly Duo. Next film on the docket is Lady Whirlwind. And in this movie, we have this young lady here. Her sister has been killed. And so she's out for revenge. And yes, that's a typical plot for a lot of martial arts movies. So she's out for revenge. But in doing so, she also winds up helping a young guy who's being, as it says here, pursued by gangsters. And it so happens to be the same gangsters that killed her sister, and she wants to exact her revenge on them. And again, really good time with this film. And again, fight choreography was fantastic. As our star here, Chang Yi, she was fantastic in this movie. So I really had a good time with that one. 3.5 stars for Lady Whirlwind. This one is also out on Arrow. I bought the Arrow set for that one. It comes with another movie called Hapkido, which I did not get a chance to watch yet. So hopefully I will get to see that one soon. That brings me to the final martial arts movie of March that I watched. And this one is listed here on Letterboxd as The Bodyguard from Beijing. If you have the DVD like I do, and maybe on the Blu-ray, I'm not sure if it is a Blu-ray, but it is called The Defender. So I'm guessing that's the American title. So I had a hard time logging this movie because I couldn't figure out what the title was. But The Bodyguard from Beijing is it. And of course, Jet Li is the star. It's the only Jet Li movie that I watched this month. I'm thinking about making Jet Li July in a couple months, which means this is going to be an all martial arts year. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. But as far as this movie is concerned, The Bodyguard from Beijing, or The Defender, whichever title you know it by, this was interesting. Based on the title, you can tell, it's very similar to the Kevin Costner Whitney Houston movie, The Bodyguard. It has a lot in common with that, except it's Jet Li, not Kevin Costner. And he's a straight-laced, no nonsense bodyguard. She's not a music star. She is the girlfriend of a businessman she happened to witness a murder. Her boyfriend, the businessman, he's a good guy, but then there's another prominent businessman who they think is involved, and she's supposed to testify against him, and it's up to Jet Li to protect her until such time occurs. And it is just fun. Lots of action scenes back and forth. Jet Li just does his thing. My only issue with it is kind of like some of the early Jackie Chan movies. The footage is sped up just a tad, and you can tell. Not that Jet Li isn't fast, because he's tremendously fast, but it looks a little unnatural when the camera is sped up, and then everybody's moving just a little too fast. It doesn't look quite right, but overall, still a good movie. 3.5 stars for The Bodyguard from Beijing, or as I said, The Defender. So that's it. Those are all the martial arts movies I watched during the second half of the month. Check out my video for the first half of the month if you're interested in martial arts movies. See what I watched. I think all total there was about 15 or 16. I did not watch as many as I wanted to, but it's still a pretty good amount for 1 month. Like I said, I'm thinking about making Jet Li July. So let me know in the comments if that's a good idea or not. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those YouTube things, and let's talk martial arts movie down there. For now, that's all I have. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.